Good morning. I'm Mario Preti from the University of Torino, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me in this meeting, and in particular Professor Jacob Bostren that organized this session, Stump the Expert. And we are going to speak about social media and the vulvar disease expert. These numbers are huge. There are 7.7 billion people in the world, and at least 3.5 billion are online. This means that social media platforms are used by 1 in 3 people in the world, and more than 2/3 of all internet users. People in USA today are adopting new technologies, including tablets and smartphones, at the swiftest pace we have seen since the advent of television. And while telephone took 35 years to spread through US market, the diffusion of internet and smartphone occurred at much faster pace of 7 and 4 years respectively. And if 50 years ago we had only television that gave us clarity or confusion, now we have dozens of devices in the social media era. And what is the norm? What is normal in the social media times, and what is the role of the expert? We know that the normal distribution is a continuous probability distribution that is symmetrical on the both sides of the mean, so that the right side of the center is a mirror image of the left side. But in the dictionary, we can find a definition that normal is conforming to or agreeing with the standard or the common type. And unfortunately, the standard could be influenced by the social media. And so what is the normal vulva? What is normal in social media time? This, the expert wrote. The result of the study, 2005, is that a wide range of values were noted for each measurement of the genital, femoral genital measure. And in conclusion, women vary widely in genital dimension. And this study was confirmed by this other study, where the expert stated that the range of the lamina minora length is very, very wide. And the only difference between premenopausal and postmenopausal women physiologically was the labia minus wide. But what women see and what they want, the identification of pathological and normal is of course subjective, and there is a great variability of normal anatomy and lack of standard, despite the expert opinion. So a desire for a particular homogeneous genital aesthetica, a sort of clean sheet or bipedal vulva, so that the labia minora are not visible. And in this paper of almost 10 years ago, the most part of interviewed women agreed that their genitalia look normally. And the two groups, the younger one and the older one, were similar for their answers. The only difference for the younger women was the use of pornography and the recommendation of friends as a search of information to learn about the normal vulva. So it was 10 years ago, and during these 10 years, the part of internet became bigger and bigger. This more recent paper, we can see the contribution of online content to the promotion and normalization of female genital cosmetic surgery, where the average usage of social media and the internet are about 3 hours per day. And internet and pornography are the most influential source for girls seeking labioplasty. And these are the main point. There is a sort on the web and the social media, a sort of pathologization on genital diversity, and female genital appearance is considered important for well-being. The characteristic of women's genitalia are considered as important for sexual life, and there are words and imagined with the female body as degenerative and improbable through surgery, with surgery considered safe, easy, and effective. This pathologization is underlined in the cyberspace with concomitant promotion of homogenized clean sheet vulva as an ideal and desirable. And it's also used a sort of disparaging language to position and certain characteristics as abnormal or undesirable, and through visual representation on this website and in online pornography. Of course, this pathologization of the vulvar diversity not occur only through language, but there are indicators of socially desirable and undesirable genital characteristics. And in particular, the word used, vaginas are potentially loose, large labia are protuberant, oversized, unpeeling, and some female genital surgery provider website made latent association between larger labia and poor personal hygiene. Of course, what is, this is an example of a website, what is labioplasty and what does it involve? Labioplasty corrects deformity. The experts say that the wide range of variability is normal, but the web says that is a deformity to be corrected by labioplasty. So you have only to click and ask for a surgeon. Furthermore, there are provider websites that promote female genital surgery as a solution for emotional discomfort or ashamed about the appearance, and as a solution for emotional problem. There are not pain or functional issues, but just social and psychological advantages through the genital surgery. And these are terms used when aging or post-baby bodies are pathologized through descriptor, loose, descending, hanging, terms that carry unflattering connotation in a society that valorizes only young. This is the great wall of vagina, we can better say, of the vulva, and we can see the diversity. And this what the experts recommend really against some surgery, dyspotomentation, menoplastic, bleaching, whitening, and genital surgery with the intention of enhancing sexual function, given the lack of evidence. Not only for the use of laser, there was a consensus paper with International Continence Society and International Society for the Study of Vulvovaginal Disease a couple of years ago that recommend to wait randomized control study to say definitive word of the clinical role of laser on vulvar and vaginal treatment. And these other experts underline not make sure to not repeat past mistakes. But this is what women ask for the appearance. They don't like the look. They don't like the look of labia minora. For the functional, discomforting during sporting activity, for the sexual life, for the psychological aspect, all aspects that are put under pressure with the social media. And these are an example in our department with a collaborative study with international experts. What it is about the knowledge of women about vulvar anatomy and self-examination. 500 surveys was collected with 25 multiple choice questions evaluating knowledge and vulvar self-examination. The aims of our study was to assess the knowledge of women about the external genital anatomy and to investigate the practice of vulvar self-examination and the willingness to access, to learn and practice vulvar self-examination. It was a mean age of 41 years. Almost half were married and half single, about half nulliparous, and the graduation was well distributed. We can see that about 20% of the interviewed women consider vulva and vagina the same entity, and almost 10% that the labia minora are outside the labia majora. And unfortunately, only 23% were told about self-examination, vulvar self-examination in all their entire academic journey. So no moment dedicated to sexual education, neither at the school nor in family context. And we observed that almost 60% of women interviewed had vulvar sex examinations, 41% sporadically, but only once out of curiosity about the 10%. And it was found that the higher degree relates with the higher percentage of vulvar sex examination, and that nulliparous women observe more frequently than primi or multiparous women. Unfortunately, more than half of the women in occasion to find something not normal on their genitalia don't refer to a doctor. Less than 50% refer to a doctor, for the most part, gynecologist. So it's important to work on this side of the moon. This is really the dark side. But most of the interviewed women agreed to receive more information. So it's a big target audience for informative campaigns. And social media, again, is a very important role in as information channels with the preferred way of information. And as old Chinese proverb says, it's better a draw than 1,000 words. We have the preferred mode of information with drawing or cartoon. So it's important for women that vulvar self-examination is a tool to understand what is normal if they know what is normal, is a defense against unnecessary surgery, given the great anatomical vulvar variability. It is not a diagnostic tool alone. Women should refer immediately to trained medical personnel. And important that the role of this expert is to favor this conversation group, and we have here two very good examples about vulvar lichen sclerosus, where there is a online forum where healthcare professionals can build up this motivation. And another very good example is the social media campaign to disseminate information on provoked valvestibulodynia. It is important to give correct information and let women informed refer to specialized health provider. And who can benefit of this information campaign? Of course, correct information leads to awareness of normality and variability of normality, and also to the what is changing in the anatomy of the genitalia. And so we hope in the next 20 years to have a reduction of the pre-invasive and invasive vulvar disease through the awareness of normality and correct information. And this is a paper we recently published with a 4-decade trend in lymph node status in patients with vulvar squamous cell carcinoma in northern Italy. And we can see we have 4 different decades, and there is no difference in lymph node involvement. And so, in conclusion, this study showed a frustrating lack of progress in detecting vulvar squamous cell carcinoma in an early stage, over 4 decades. We see the prevalence of lymph node involvement is increasing and not decreasing. So this indicates a failure of prevention and the need of a serious rethink of the local model for the care of disease. So it is important that the expert and the social media meet to avoid that this problem go on in the next decades. I thank you again for the invitation and for your kind attention.